pretty dark in here, so it's hard to see. But here's Jade. Hi, Jade. Hi. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Hi. And you can't really see her, but in that box in the back is Onyx. Here's Jade. My Jade. Yeah, you can let me touch you? Yeah? Yeah. Jade and her sister had some forays out of the cage. Jade went back in on her own, but Onyx, she's more of a hider, so it took me a while to sort of angle her back into the cage. You mean Jade? You giving me lovey eyes. Yeah, I love you too, sweetheart. And then there's an extra box for outside the cage in case they do come out. And then Muffin, he's not doing too well. Hey, Muffin Muff. Yeah, he barely acknowledges us. He mostly just sits there. He's probably going to be re-released. But I hate the idea of these guys being out in the cold, so I'm going to try as hard as I can, keep him a little bit longer, so if he does go back out, it will at least be in good weather, because the weather outside is frightful. Pretty crummy. So hopefully he'll be doing better by spring. And if he's not, then he'll at least be warm out there. I have pet him a couple times, but he hisses. He usually hisses as you approach the cage, and then if you try to get near him, he's got a little bowl of food in front of him that I put there. He used to be further away from him, so he's pulled it towards him. He has eaten some of it, but not as much as I'd like. He's still clearly very stressed, which concerns me, but he doesn't seem at all unhealthy. He had some burrs in his fur, and I pulled out a couple, but he did not cooperate. And he's chewed a couple out of his fur himself, but I don't think he's comfortable enough to let me brush him. So within the next couple of days, I'm going to try petting him some more, talking to him some more, and maybe brushing him a little. He does have this box here. He's used it a couple times, and I've been leaving the window open because it gets pretty hot in here. He'll use the box if it's too cold for him. And that's usually when I close the window. And then he ends up back in that corner. But very little progress with him. But we're going to keep trying because we love kitties. Jadey. A baby. I'm a Jadey baby. And she doesn't mind when I stick my fingers in the cage, but when Al approaches her, she swipes at him. And I think that's because he's a little hesitant with them, where I'm more, not forceful, but assertive. Like when I want her to sniff my hands, I put him right up to her nose. And he sort of holds his hand away from her, and that's when she swipes at him. But they're doing pretty good. Onyx is still pretty scared, but if I put my hand out to her, she'll sniff it, but then she'll run away. But she'll come out for food. It was treat day, so everybody got a nice bowl of wet food. Because we usually free-range our kitties on dry and then give them wet if they need it. And I also do it for a treat. And Onyx will come out for treats and food. But not if you just call her. But Jade will, for the most part, come out when you call her. And we're also going to try to put a collar on her. Maybe within the next couple of days, too. So that she can come out of the cage and we'll be able to hear where she is. Yeah. And they were sleeping on both sides of the bed, and Onyx was on top of the bed a couple times, but then hid. Jade would let me approach her to pet her, but only briefly. And Onyx would run away if I tried to approach her. So we're going to try a couple more times to see if they're comfortable. And when Muffin goes, we'll probably switch them into the larger cage, because our cage doesn't have black liner like this one does. So it makes cleaning up afterwards a little more difficult, because we have to sweep it off the floor and put towels and blankets down in the bottom of the cage so they don't hurt their little feet. We might move them up to this cage once Muffin is gone. Yeah, which has a bit more space, and it has a side door as opposed to an end door. That one has an end door. I prefer the side doors because then you have more access to the whole cage without having to get down on your hands and knees, which I don't like because it hurts, especially when there's gravel and dried food on the floor. It's like kneeling on grits. Hey, Jade. You being a good girl. Hi. Can't even see your eyes. Yeah, it's too dark in there. Okay. So that's progress report for our ferals. Because, yeah. There's just one more feral, and that's Logan, and I'll show you guys that in a minute.